Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to it. We are here, part of Ticket Weekends. I'm Austin Norman, Ben Droz on the board here. We're jumping into the Husker Extra Hour. That's what this is. 4 o'clock on Sundays. We bring in two of the heavy hitters from the Omaha World Herald. Break down yesterday's Husker football game. It was a 28-14 win for the Huskers over the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. And I don't know if Sam won or lost the toss, but either way, Sam deferred to the second half. He'll get a second. So that means we welcome in Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald right now on the Allo VIP line. Tom, Huskers win at 28-14. They're 2-2 right now. But as you look back at last night's game, what's the one big storyline, the first big takeaway that you had for the Huskers and Bulldogs?
Well, they won. At halftime, I was thinking, uh-oh. I mean, they weren't really moving the ball very well. The line wasn't moving those guys out. Offense just was really like it was out of options. I couldn't really throw it, and just a lot of things weren't working. So. But they just kept going, and as you would expect them to do, they wore down the La Tech defense. So, it all worked out. It could have been 42 instead of 28. They had those two long runs called back, but just kind of a sloppy game in some ways. But they just overwhelmed them eventually, and. But, as I wrote about, man, it's offense is coming into form. It's a quarterback run offense right now, and certainly Anthony Grant's going to have a lot of carries and a lot to say about it. But it's pretty one-dimensional, and they got a good defense. We'll see how far that can take them.
Let's start with just the energy, the environment in the stadium. Wasn't there, but even on TV, you could kind of feel the lack of excitement, the lack of buzz and energy in the stadium. Was that because of the weather? Did the rain delay suck that even further out? Or was it something else? Was Nebraska just not ready to play from the get-go?
Yeah, I think that was probably, I think they're ready to play, but it's Harvard's second start, and it's La Tech. I just don't think there's a lot of this is a team with it's got flaws, and so the defense is certainly very exciting to watch. They do a good, but they don't turn the ball over a lot, and it's not a team that is going to make a lot of turnovers and a lot of excitement that way. So. I don't know. I think that's a good question. I just think they got to a slow start. They got down there, and they had to use the fake field goal. That was fun, but it's just this offense is going to grind it out, and there's just not a lot of. You're not going to create a lot of buzz with the team that has to grind it out. Although they had, I guess, arguably 3 long touchdown runs. So. It's a team that did strike for the big play against those guys. I just found myself watching other Big Ten games and just trying to figure out, okay, next week isn't going to go well probably, but Illinois doesn't look great. Michigan State loses again, and Minnesota loses to Northwestern, and you watch Purdue, and Iowa's not scoring. You just try to think, hey, are there 4 more wins out there? I think there are, but they're going to have to play well.
That's something that we talked about quite a bit on our post-game coverage, was the schedule moving forward. If you ask me after Northern Illinois, I felt better than I did after Louisiana Tech. But, Tom, I want your take on this. This feels like the first average Nebraska team we've seen in a long time. We've seen really bad, we've seen really good, but this is a team that does some things well, does other things poorly, and is going to be in every game. You can see a way for them to win every game. You can see a way for them to lose every game. And I don't think Nebraskans are used to just an average football team.
Well, we've certainly seen a lot of stuff in the last 20 years, and maybe average isn't. I mean, that's one way to put it. I don't know. They've just been sort of there, some years, and in some games, like the last couple of years, they've been at the end and just haven't learned how to win. This team just doesn't have enough players. It doesn't have enough talent. It just doesn't, and especially on offense, there's just not enough there. And the injuries at running back have not helped. It's a team that really has to play above itself in some ways. I thought that they've been doing that on the defensive end. They've been pretty clean, and a couple penalties last week, but special teams has been clean until yesterday. So that was a little bit of a speed bump, but I just think it's you wonder how much coaching is going to take effect. I really think these guys, and are there receivers like Malachi Coleman? Are there maybe people going to show up later in the season that are going to be a factor? Is Thomas Fidone just getting going with a quarterback who can find him? So yeah, it's average because the talent level overall I think is average or maybe above average. It's not a lot of playmakers, not a lot of great speed. But man, the division they're in is certainly very average. So it's a division where you can manage your way through that if you don't make mistakes and if you make enough plays. That Minnesota game, we've been talking about that in the press talk. That's the game they're going to say we should have won that game. At the end of the year, they're going to look at Minnesota and go, God, we should have won that. So, but there's certainly, I just don't. Some people think they're going to have a chance in Champaign. They're going to have to play well, not turn it over. Defense is going to give them a chance in every game. Maybe not next week. Although Michigan can certainly come in there next week and probably sleepwalk a little bit and just try to get out of there. And their offense is not really explosive. It can be, but I don't know. I think there's 4 more wins out there, and I just wonder what's ahead for this. Is there something that they're doing at practice or with the coaching staff that's going to kick in about a month that we don't know yet? For me, the focus is on the offensive line. It's got to get much better. It's just the last 2 weeks they've kind of overwhelmed the opponent in the second half, but right now the biggest running plays seem to be on the outside, where they have to go outside. They have to get that option. Or they, Grant or Harburg have to kind of kick it out there and turn the corner and find big runs. That's going to have to get better as starting this week.
Even the Billy Kemp end around, again, kind of an outside run with an inside element to it. Tom, if people had just tuned in and hadn't heard who you were talking about, you really could have been describing any Big Ten West team in the divisional era, like dating back to 2014. Like, how long have Nebraska fans decried and made fun of some of these teams in the Big Ten West for being boring? And here we are talking about that being Nebraska's best chance to success, is being a Big Ten West team.
Yeah, and that's what they've lacked the last several years as well. The fact that they have not been, they've kind of beaten themselves. They haven't been clean. Nebraska, at the height of its powers, 70s, 80s, 90s, was a very boring team to watch. I know. I covered them from the outside. When I was in Kansas City, we used to make fun of Nebraska. Man, they're boring. They're robots. They never make a mistake. They just pound and pound and pound. And Osborne's offenses are so boring. Blah blah blah. It's just now you should just kill to have that now, right? But I do. I have made fun of the Big Ten, for a long time, and now I'm in it. But the Big Ten has really done Nebraska a favor. It showed the program what they weren't doing. It's had flaws. Yeah, it's had some talent. Abdullah's and Kenny Bells and some of those guys, but they have not been the physical program, and they haven't played clean. They don't execute very sharply. They have not over the years, the last several years. So they finally got an AD who saw that and said, "We don't need to be flashy. We need to play good football." So I think they're going to get that done, and I think they have in a lot of ways, especially on defense. But they got to recruit now. That's the next step. And when they get those two going together, that's when you'll see something.
Getting those things going together, it sounds a lot like complementary football. Nebraska did it really well against Northern Illinois. It starts with the drive that gets to midfield, the punt down at the 1, the 3 and out, then the short field and score. Do you trust Nebraska's ability to execute enough offensively? Do you trust special teams enough to say that they can play that style of complementary football, or is that still going to be an uphill battle for this team for the next 8 games?
Well, I think they're very capable of doing it, and we've seen that. Now we haven't seen the big turnover on defense. We haven't seen the big the block punt, the big punt return necessarily. But they've been playing well. They just until yesterday they got lucky on the kickoff return was called back, and they had a couple other plays. I think I'm trying to remember, but they did get the fake field goal was good. So yeah, I think they can. I really do. I think this offense is going to settle into something, and that's what they need to get into a rhythm of. Well, here's who we are, and let's get really good at these plays, and let's go block them and go get them. And Hartberg's kind of a deceiving guy. He can really scoot through there and take off. And I wonder how much option they're going to run going ahead. They don't really know how to coach the option. But I give them credit for trying to do something that is going to fit what they have, and they have people who can run that offense. It'd be nice to see more fullback. They talked about having fullback, and it'd be nice to see some more of that. But the receiving core, man, wasn't. I thought it had a chance for the season, but losing Betts and Washington just hasn't been there yet. So they got to get something going there. They can't just be Kemp. So, but so I think, excuse me, I think they have a good formula. The best possible formula for this team is defense. Try to make some plays on special teams and just run the ball and try to win games that way. It's not though. It's boring. It looks average, but it's where they are right now in the program. They don't have the players yet. So again, I give the coaching staff credit for trying to mold a sort of a short-term, you're building your program, you're installing your culture, and so on and so forth. You also want to win the first year. And he's certainly got enough players to try to do that. So I give him credit for trying to, like I said, I put together a path or a formula in order to do that. Now, we see Northwestern and we see Purdue coming up. Well, they won't be pushovers certainly, but those are a couple at home. Well, you can go try to win. So that's 4 wins. if you get those, that's 4 wins. Can you steal one of Illinois or Michigan State? Can you beat Iowa at home? I mean, can you beat Maryland? Maryland's scoring some points. So it's and that Wisconsin game. They don't look great, and they lost a running back, but that's a tough place to play. It's been a haunted house for Nebraska, Camp Randall. So it's there's a lot left to do, and I think it's going to be exciting to watch. But right now, I feel good about the quarterback. I feel good about the running back. I feel good about the defense, and they got to get that offensive line going.
You sure do, and obviously the offensive line getting going will do nothing but help the rest of the team. You mentioned not having enough guys. Anthony Grant looked good in his return to running back 1 status, I thought, but we only saw 2 carries for Emmett Johnson and none for Quentin Ives. Is it Anthony Grant and then that's it at the running back position? Is that an indictment on Emmett Johnson? Is that just a lack of dudes available? What do you make of 22 carries for Grant, 2 for Johnson, and no of the running back in the mix?
Yeah, it's tough to bring those guys in right now. Now, yesterday was certainly a game where you probably wanted to do it. You don't know. You just don't know what's going through a coach. Maybe they didn't feel like the Satterfield didn't feel like the play was right for them, or the circumstance, or these guys also get cold feet. They get conservative, trying to win, and the tendency is to fall back on the guy who's done it. So I think they'll certainly play. But yesterday's game was not a blowout until the end, so they really didn't get a chance to go to the bench too early. When that game's 7-7, you're thinking, well, we can't lose to these guys. You want to stay with Grant. So it's just one of those deals right now where they're gonna do what they can to win. And I do appreciate that with Rule saying, hey, just because you're injured doesn't mean you come back and be the starter. I'm gonna play who I think is gonna help us win. That's a nice out. He leaves himself a nice out in case he wants to play Harbor and he needs an excuse to play him or something. Well, we don't have that policy. If you're injured, you come right back. We just figure out who's going to help us win. So I appreciate that a little bit. Yeah, I think Harburg's got it going right now. I don't think you bring Sims back, even if he's healthy. After 2 weeks off, you don't throw him in against Michigan. I mean, it's in that kind of stage. So, but yeah, I think Grant. I didn't realize that. I went back and looked. He carried the ball 32 times because Indiana. I don't remember that last year, but apparently he had 32 carries. That's a hell of a lot. That's a big load.
It's a Mo Ibrahim size load.
And so he did that, and he likes to do that. So you got to keep him healthy because that there's a lot of games left, a lot of body blows still to be had, and a lot of bruises and hits. So and that's what they're going to do now. I think it's been decided they're going to line up and they're going to run it. And the people in the stands wearing the run the damn ball hat, they're on their feet, so they're cheering. So we'll see where it takes them.
Nebraska's going to run the ball. It's also done a really good job of stopping the run so far this year. Only 46 rush yards again allowed against Louisiana Tech. No sacks this time. I'll give Louisiana Tech credit for that. A quick passing game. The drive that stands out to me, Tom, was the one right after the rain delay. I get it. Everyone was cold coming back on the field. But it felt like there was no juice from the defense. Is that a situation where Luke Reimer's a vocal guy, might have had the defense, in a better position, ready to go out of that break? Or do you give the defense a pass on that one?
A little bit of a pass because you don't have that very often. And it's not a real veteran defense. Certainly Luke is, but and he may have done that. But I also give Louisiana Tech credit. When you're in the locker room, it's like another halftime. You can kind of script what you're going to do coming out of the gate, and so I think they had a chance to do that. And but yeah, I think it was hard for Nebraska to come back out, and that's just a little bit of inexperience, but also you don't really plan on that, so you don't know what you're gonna do. So I wasn't really that concerned with it. I just go back to those first two games. I thought they played really well in Minnesota. Then they gave up the turnovers, put them in a terrible spot. They ended up giving up that incredible touchdown, dragging the feet play. And Colorado, I thought they really played well. I really thought they got after them, and just too many turnovers put them, and they aren't ready to handle that. And Colorado's got the skilled people to in the atmosphere, to get that done. But so I felt good about them all year. I really have. And but again, they don't have enough yet either. They need more. They need more players. They need more speed and more size, and it's all coming. But I like the way these guys, Tony White and those guys on defense are coaching, and have those guys playing. So that's gonna be fun to watch in this. Not a lot of explosive offense in the Big Ten West, but I think that's going to give Nebraska a chance in almost all those games.
Tom, we'll let you go with this one. Taking a look at the coaching staff through 4 games, what are your impressions now compared to where you thought they would be in the preseason? Are there any coaches that stand out positively or negatively in your mind through 4 games?
Yeah, I don't know. I give them a little pass on negative because, again, you can only coach so much. You have to have players. College football is a player's game. It's a playmaker's game. You either have guys or you have dudes. Nebraska doesn't have a lot of dudes. They need to go find some dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it a lot easier. Deion Sanders has got a couple dudes on offense, including the quarterback, who's the coach's son, by the way. So it makes it a little easier when you have those kind of guys. So, but I really think Tony White overall has done a great job on defense. I think Ed Foley they have not been spectacular, right? They haven't made the big play. And maybe we give them too much credit for just doing what they should do, but we haven't seen that in so long. So we're excited about catching a punt, all right? We're excited about anything that isn't screwing something up. So on special teams. So that could get better, certainly. I just offensive line, I don't know what's going on there yet. Maybe Teddy, full-time Teddy helps that out, but I've been a little disappointed at that. But they just did a receiver. They just haven't. I think Satterfield is starting to throw a little thing here and there in there, and it's going to be interesting. Last week he had a couple screens that worked big and quarterback draw. And then yesterday, like you said, the reverse. I mean, it's just stuff like that. They're going to have to pull a rabbit out of their hat once in a while to keep people honest. And that'll be the challenge going forward these next 8 games. Is people are going to know what Nebraska is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
What their offense is. It'll be an easy scout. Question: can you keep them on their toes a little bit? And that's why I wonder if might be a couple young receivers who are going to show up there eventually and maybe help out. And I appreciate them not rushing those guys in there. I mean, let's face it, most people expected 6-6 this year, maybe at the most. I mean, that was my ceiling. So you don't. It isn't a make or break year, where you have to rush a bunch of guys in there to play them. And so I think you can stay on plan before game, keep your redshirt plan. But I'm anxious to see if there may be guys that are going to come in here, like those running backs you said, Emmett. Maybe they'll show up as we go. And don't forget, after Illinois, there's a well-timed bye week, which you never know. But that'll give them a week to kind of come out of that, and maybe we'll see a few things we haven't seen yet.
Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald with us here on the Husker Extra Hour. If you missed Tom's post-game column, anything midweek, go check it out at omaha.com. Hit the little Huskers tab. Tom, appreciate it as always. Look forward to reading what you got this week.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tom. There he goes, Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald with us, kicking off the Husker Extra Hour. We're going to step aside for our first break of the show. We'll bring in the other heavy hitter, Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald, as we continue the Husker Extra Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Accelerate your financial journey. With Kasasa Cash, experience the thrill of earning more with each transaction or the freedom to withdraw your cash from any ATM nationwide. Not to mention, no monthly service fees. It's the power of earning up to 5.5% APY on your Kasasa Cash with Liberty First Credit Union. Earn rewards beginning at a penny, continuing up to $40,000. Visit libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Account qualifications apply.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Do we need to rename him Jedi McCarthy?
Oh, yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, he kind of looks like Luke Skywalker.
Is Jim Harbaugh his Yoda or his Obi-Wan?
Probably Obi-Wan.
JJ McCarthy, find your Yoda. That's what you have to do to have a successful season and be a first-round quarterback next year.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador online at prg-ne.com.
Babe, pack your bags. We're going to Vegas.
Vegas?
We just got the estimate from the wedding caterer, and we're going to have to elope.
Actually, Members Owned Credit Union is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We can borrow what we need with equity from the house.
Wait, so we can keep the bacon-wrapped dates for the cocktail hour?
We can keep the bacon-wrapped dates. From wedding bells to trekking the globe and everything in between, capture your dreams your way with a no-fee Members Owned Credit Union home equity line of credit. Learn more at membersownedheloc.org. Limitations may apply. Equal housing lender.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Sartor Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Sartor Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
America's been around since 1776. That's nothing. America's still just learning how to party. The Irish? The Irish have been doing it for thousands of years. Party the Irish way at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket. They've got your favorite Irish beers on tap, along with all the locals and domestics. Plus great house cocktails, a huge selection of Irish whiskey, and the best Irish pub food in town. See the full menu and list of specials online at mckinneyspub.com, or just head down there. McKinney's Irish Pub at 7th and P in the Haymarket. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
The days of internet contracts and heavy fine print are over. It's time to experience hassle-free service with no contracts or hidden fees. That's the Allo promise. Allo Communications provides fiber internet, TV, and phone services with fair and no-nonsense pricing. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 local support 365 days a year, and a monthly bill you can count on. Don't settle for gimmicks. Settle for hassle-free with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/hassle-free.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the Husker Extra Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Thanks to Walter for tuning in on the YouTube stream. We are worldwide on our free app, as well as Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We bring in Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald right now on the Allo VIP line. Really appreciate our friends at Allo for everything that they do. Sam, did you win the toss and did you defer? Is that how this worked out? All right, Sam, you there?
Yes, Sam.
Excellent. Did you win the toss and defer? Is that why Tom went first? Did you receive the second half kickoff? Is that how that played out?
No, yeah, not really. No, that's he's the first half guy. I'm the second half guy. How's that?
Fair enough. Well, Nebraska, much more a second half team than a first half team. 0-0 after one quarter, 7-7 at halftime between the Huskers and the Bulldogs. Didn't score on the opening scripted drive. Nebraska didn't, but the defense held strong as well. What do you make of the offense's lack of consistency in terms of putting points on the board through 4 games?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for what they are and they aren't doing. I mean, I think that they don't have a lot of explosive plays, so you have to find a way to get in scoring position. And they don't do that necessarily a ton. They had a couple of long runs called back against Louisiana Tech. They're probably keeping some things in their back pocket for games like Michigan, and they feel like they need a trick play or something to put it on the board. But I think they're also pretty content with, trying to just punt, play defense, rely on rely on their defense. That's something that I think Nebraska has not wanted to do since joining the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that Iowa's been very comfortable doing. So is Minnesota, and it's worked out for them more often than Nebraska's approach has worked out for Nebraska. So I think there's a conservatism a little bit. They're trying to create some big plays. Certainly, Marcus Satterfield's trying to dial up some long throws, but I think they're pretty content, punting the football and playing some defense, getting field position, capitalizing when they can. That's probably where they're at. It's not a great offense. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They're down a lot of skill players at this point, and they're going to try to put it together the best they can.
Tom and I were laughing a little bit at that very fact. I mean, it took till the year divisions go away for Nebraska to finally lean into the Big Ten West. Do you trust the defense and special teams enough for Nebraska to make that complementary Big Ten West style football work for the next 8 games?
Well, work relatively, sure. Yeah, I mean, I to the extent they're going to win like 5 or 6 games, probably not. I mean, they want to win 4 and get to a bowl game, and there's some opportunities on the board. I think there's an opportunity to win a road game at Illinois or Michigan State. I think that's there. I think it's on the board for them, and they got to try to grab one of those 2. And so I think there's chances there for them to do what they want to do. I think the defense is probably going to hold up. There's some things about their defense that I think Louisiana Tech exploited. I don't know that a lot of other teams can exploit it, but you saw a few of the things that Louisiana Tech was trying to do. They're certainly trying to tax Nebraska's ability to tackle consistently in space. And then I think they've found that Jack Backer, who's a strong side backer essentially, but Jack Backer maybe is a little late on the drop. And so they hit a couple of slants, against Bayer and Borders. Sherman, I don't think he was in there for those, but their Jack Backers aren't great in drop, and strong side guys are always, imperfect in drops, but, they try to hit a few of those, but I think defensively they're okay. Special teams, they're 53rd in net punting, but Brian Buschini has 9 punts inside the 20. That's tied for 6th in the country. They'll take that. Their special teams isn't great. I mean, it hasn't been great yet. Certainly the place kicking is a concern. Their kickoff defense was a concern going into the game. I tweeted right before the start of the game that Louisiana Tech is a KOR and a PR threat, and they were. I think Nebraska knew that going in, but they did not make the play on that one, and it was kind of a holding a penalty away from the touchdown run. Got called back, but that kickoff defense needs to get better. Punt defense needs to get a little better. They need to get a little better on special teams. Actually, I think they're probably not quite where they want to be, and Matt Rule might have to press his thumb on it a little. That's just my sense. They spent so much time with this offense and trying to figure out how to build an offense around Harburg and not have it all fall apart, that I think that special teams probably needs a little bit more Rules tender love and care, so to speak.
If you look at those, I guess, 5 aspects of special teams: place kicking, punting, punt return, kickoff, kick return, which of those 5 would you make your priority to improve first?
Well, place kicking is place kicking. It's a make or miss game. It's like darts or golf. So the only thing you can really do there is double down on, trusting a guy or go to somebody else. You can do some drills that might help, might not help, but it's kind of like golf. And so, you might have to put your Ryder Cup captain hat on and try to figure out mentality-wise where Alvano's at, how you can get him locked in. Before the kick on Saturday, I turned to my colleague, Evan. First of all, they managed the clock very poorly at the end of the first half. I'll ask Rule about that tomorrow. But I was like, he's not making this kick. You have to prepare a young kicker, prepare them to go out there. I mean, I don't think him in the middle left hash was his ideal look. I don't know exactly where he's at, but when you get on that far hash, you can kind of aim it at that far pole and bring it back in. Or if you're on the right hash and you're a right-footed kicker, you can kind of aim at the right pole and draw it in. Either way, you can draw that in. when you're kind of where he was, which is sort of in the middle left, you kind of have to kick it straight. That's actually harder to do. That's why NFL kickers are so good, because they don't have any room for error. They're right in the middle of the goalpost, and they have to kick it basically straight. They can move it a little, and they're really good at moving it, but it's harder to do. Whereas in college, you can kind of move it around like a golfer would, bringing it over a bunker or something like that. So I think Alvano needs work. Obviously, you'd improve that. Kickoff defense, I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
Are you scoring enough to make focusing on that even worth it at this point?
Yeah, like, I don't know enough about it to be able to tell you what they need to fix. I'm watching the games back, and I just thought Saturday there might be a chance for Louisiana Tech to break one. I think the kick return unit is close. Tommy Hill's been close for 2 years. He's got to get a little less loose with the ball. I know that for sure. And he needs to maybe bring it a little further inside, and maybe not quite try to hit the alley where he hits it, but maybe a little further inside and then go outside, maybe 10 yards down the road. I don't know. Like, I think that kick return unit is actually close to breaking another one. They were close all of last year, and then Ramir broke one in the first game. The kick defense is not very good, and I think some of it has to do with the kickoff specialist. He doesn't, Alvano is not kicking the ball consistently where it needs to go. And so, they had a short kick on that one that they returned for a touchdown that was called back. There's just a lot going on there. Specialists are tough, man. Like, the Big Ten has elite specialists. They have the best kickoff, punter, and place kickers in the country, and you need to recruit them. And Nebraska just needs to continue to get better. Bouchier's been okay. I think he would tell you that he could be better. Hell, I mean, Louisiana Tech, that punter, he had a shank, but then he had a beautiful couple of punts later in the game. So, it's just a tough job, man. Like, there's not many people on the planet who can do it really well.
Not wrong about that. We're talking with Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald. I'm glad you brought up the end of the first half, and I'm going to be listening for that tomorrow, Sam. So, waiting for that question. Was that decision, again, I know you're going to ask, but as you look at it, before you ask, do you think that decision to play it the way they did was indecision? Was it that conservatism you mentioned? Was it something else?
I don't know. My sense is, so they got the ball with 2:05 left, I think, in the half. They were at their own 35. Louisiana Tech didn't have any timeouts. So, from my perspective, you want to obviously try to end the half with the football and have an opportunity to score, but you have to imagine, okay, we're going to pump this thing back, and they don't have any timeouts. And by the time they get the ball back, at worst, it was going to be a minute.
If that, yeah.
And so they probably were just going to go into the locker room. I mean, they were probably going to do whatever. So I think the time that was taken between the first and second down and second and third down plays, you're switching personnel. Anytime you switch personnel, the other team has the opportunity to match it. You don't really want to call your timeouts in that moment. They had 3 timeouts. You don't really want to stop the clock artificially like that. But I would think that you have a faster process to get those things in and out. You have to be able to run. Now in some circumstances, Nebraska's running the same plays, but they're running them out of different formations. You got to be able to move faster in those processes and run tempo. I'm not a coach. I'm not a former player. So I don't want to act like I am. There's things about the operation that still are whatever. They just are, and they're working through it, and I think they're getting better. They inherited a unique challenge on offense. They chose a quarterback who, I don't think he's all that with Sims, and then he got hurt, and then Harburg deserves a chance to learn. Mm-hmm. He is learning, and the skill players are depleted, and there's just all kinds of stuff going on. And so I think they're trying to do the very best that they can to move the football and to put the team in position while not turning it over. And they've done a pretty good job for the last 2 weeks. So you don't want to be too harsh on that sequence. At the same time, if you had a more experienced quarterback, I think there'd be a kind of what are you doing? They'll have lots of lessons to learn at the end of the year. I think Matt Rule would say, hey, we're just trying to figure out a bunch of different things on the offensive side of the ball. And sure, I'm not sure he's probably thrilled with some of the things going on, but they're trying to fix it. This is a first year full of baby steps.
He's probably more thrilled with the defense. I think that's fair to say, especially the rush defense.
Sure.
It's been really good. But Sam, they have probably their biggest test of the year in the run game coming up in Michigan with Corum, with Edwards, with that offensive line. Is Nebraska's rush defense for real? Is it a product of the teams they've played? How do you think it holds up against Michigan on Saturday?
I do think it's for real. Yeah. I mean, I think they have a good run defense. I think Michigan's going to try to run the ball anyway. They're not going to be afraid to run the football. I think they'll do that with tight ends and various things. They run a lot of interesting power plays that will put Nebraska in some tight spots, and simultaneously Nebraska may try to run under some blocks and break some stuff up. Power plays, the way that Michigan runs them, similar to the way Wisconsin ran them. You can really blow them up, and then you can also. Bob Diaco used to describe it as, playing defense at 30,000 feet. And what he meant was, if you have a plane at 30,000 feet and there's a 1 foot hole in the plane's going to break apart. And that's kind of what this is. Like, Michigan's going to compress you, and they'll have you stacked up almost between the hash marks, and then they'll pull a guard and they'll bring a tight end down, and all of a sudden Blake Corum's got one guy, and maybe that guy makes a tackle and it's a 9-yard gain. Maybe that guy doesn't make the tackle and it's a 55-yard touchdown. That's just kind of how they're going to play. And Nebraska's going to have to be really disciplined, and they're going to have to tackle really well, kind of withstand some of what Michigan's going to do. The hard thing about Michigan is they can throw the ball.
Right.
They have really, really good receivers. They have a great tight end. The tight end's terrific. Colston Loveland is really good. They've got some good receivers too. Smaller guys. I wouldn't describe them as Ohio State's guys, but they're good. And they're fast. And so Nebraska's going to have to watch a lot of different things, and then they're going to have to be really consistent, because Michigan does a really good job of throwing a bunch of different things at you, and then you have to execute each one of those things. And so over the course of a 60-minute game, I think Nebraska will do a pretty good job. And simultaneously, they'll probably get busted a few times, and Nebraska's offense is going to have to find a way to answer. So I don't know what you're keeping in your back pocket this week. And this is always tough, right? So, like, do you pull it out of your back pocket for Michigan, or do you keep it in your back pocket for Illinois or for, Purdue or Maryland? You pull it out of your back pocket for games that you feel like you can win. That's the age-old question. You go back 6-7 years ago, Nebraska would have 14 commits in the class. It'd be bringing in every 4 and 5 star they had for the Michigan game, and you probably pull out all the stops because, you're playing Michigan and you want to put on a show for the recruits. And they got 25 commits in their class. So I'm not trying to say they're not going to try to win. To be clear, I think you got to play this game and say, hey, let's see where we're at halftime. If this thing's 10-7, let's do what we got to do. We got a chance to get on top of this thing. But Nebraska's early in the Matt Rule era, and, a win like this would be a huge deal. Simultaneously, a win at Illinois would be a huge deal. Every win is a huge deal. So you have to proceed accordingly based on what the situation is game to game.
Okay, Sam, last thing for you here. Nebraska's 2-2, definitely within the range of possibilities from what most people were predicting before the season. Did they get to 2-2? How you thought? Does it feel the way you thought it would feel after 4 games? What's the tenor of these next 8?
Defense has been a little better than I thought it'd be. Offense has struggled a little bit more than I thought it would. I am intrigued by the passing game, what it is and what it's not. I think the run game has been about what I expected. I wrote before the season about running the quarterback. I thought they would do that quite a bit. What I haven't seen as much of is some of the past stuff that I thought I might see. Maybe we'll see that as the season progresses. I thought they'd be 3-1. At this point, to be really honest with you, I didn't really think Colorado was going to be what Colorado was, at least for the first 2 weeks of the season. They kind of came back down to earth on Saturday, and they'll probably come further back down to earth against USC. At least their defense will. So where Colorado ends up at the end of the year, they might be 6-6, 7-5. But the team that Nebraska played that day was like an 11-win team based on the emotion and the energy and all that jazz. So Nebraska ran into a bit of a buzzsaw up there. So they're 2-2. I thought they'd be 3-1. Simultaneously, some of the teams that are later on the schedule aren't probably as good as I thought they'd be. I think, Iowa's got a lot of issues. I mean, they're not bad. I mean, they're still a pretty good team, but they've got issues. And Illinois' defense is back. I mean, it's not nearly as good as anyone thought it was going to be. So there's games out there to win that maybe you didn't think at the beginning of the year were going to be out there to win. And Nebraska's right in the thick of it. Like they don't have to take a back seat. Maybe this week they're an underdog. After this week, there isn't going to be a single football game Nebraska plays where the line is double digits either way, whether it's Northwestern or it's Wisconsin. There's not going to be there's not going to be a double digit line either way, all the way out now. So every game's winnable and every game's losable.
Sounds about right for this team. Once again, check out omaha.com for the latest for what Tom Chattel writes, and our guest right now, Sam McEwen. Again, omaha.com. Click the Huskers tab. Sam, appreciate the time. Look forward to another week of coverage.
All right, take care.
There he is, Sam McEwen, with us on our Allo VIP line, providing exceptional service with local heart. Check out Allo Fiber for all your home internet needs. We'll take a break one last time. Get ready to hand it over to Tom and Melby there in the building for the Husker Rewind. One final segment here of the Husker Extra Hour comes your way in just a sec.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zip line gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This school year's in full swing. Students are back in the class learning, making new friends, and developing new interests. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Parents, communication is key to helping your student maintain a strong start to the school year. Whether your student is in high school or navigating the new world of kindergarten, keep an open dialogue about what they're learning and how they are growing.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
September is National Literacy Month, a time to encourage the young people in your life to go to the library, pick up a good book, and explore new worlds. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. By getting books in the hands of kids, we can engage these young readers in their learning and help them see how school, community, and the world beyond are connected.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Old School with DP and J.
You know, earning a black shirt is a great honor. I mean, obviously you got coaches that haven't been here before, but at the end of the day, they understand somewhat of what it means. And the majority of the guys, or the guys that got them, they must be doing something right. For me personally, you know, that was just something I never forgot, man. It was just when I was on campus, because I never envisioned myself doing anything until my senior year.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time here on the Husker Extra Hour. Big thanks to Tom Chattel and Sam McEwen for joining us over the last hour here. Again, Omaha.com. Check out their coverage on the World Herald. Joined by the Rewind fellas, Tom, Melby in the building. Gentlemen, Huskers win. 28-14. How enthused were you?
After Saturday night?
Yeah.
I'm very frustrated, headed toward the fourth quarter. Actually, into the third quarter. I thought they reacted well. They found something with some, power formations, and they won the game. But it's frustrating right now. The offensive line has not gotten dramatically better. Nebraska's down to one eye back. It looks right now. Emmett Johnson, we didn't see much. 2 carries, 6 yards. They don't have a wide receiver. They have a pretty good tight end. They have actually 2 pretty good tight ends. But this is a team that doesn't have many weapons. It's going to be interesting to see what Marcus Satterfield can do, because the Big Ten West is awful. In fact, the Big Ten, I think,
Worse than usual.
It's outside the Big Three, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. It's a bad league. It's really a bad league. There's 6 wins for Boise State maybe on this Nebraska, but is there 6 wins for Nebraska? I just don't know. I mean, we'll find out, I guess. Mike?
I still go back after week 1. I altered my ceiling from 8 wins down to 6. I mean, I think they can get to 6, but can they get 7, 8? No. I just don't think so right now. They don't have the offensive line play. They don't have the quarterback play. You can say what you want about Henrik Harburg and his running ability, et cetera. But, I mean, bottom line is,
if they don't get to 6, that's kind of bad, because there's a lot of teams on the schedule that aren't good football teams.
The problem is Nebraska's one of them.
Yeah. That's a big problem there.
Just a lot of, you only got to find 4. You can talk yourself into 5.
Well, okay,
6,
so let me ask you this.
I don't know
are you talking yourself into Northwestern?
That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Northwestern found a way. Nebraska
You should
didn't.
talk yourself into Northwestern's not great, but neither was Minnesota.
Would you take their quarterback over either one of our quarterbacks right now? Because I know I would.
Somehow, some way, I would.
I think I would pick pretty much any quarterback. I mean, spin the wheel. See which quarterback it lands on. I'll probably take him.
Ben Bryant this year, for reference, is 81 of 136 through the air, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions at 5.9 yards per attempt.
Where'd they get this guy?
Cincinnati.
He's going to say he came from Cincinnati. He left when Fickle went to Wisco.
That's amazing.
By the way,
why didn't we get
him? The playoff last year.
Why didn't we
I don't
get
know,
him?
because somebody fell in love with Jeff Sims, and that's who we have. So,
and they didn't like Casey Thompson. Not that it would matter now, because he wouldn't be playing anyway. That's our show. That's what our show's going to be about.
There you go. We got about a minute left, Ben, if you want to hit the bumper over there. That's the Rewind. Husker football rantings and ravings.
No, it'll be happier. We'll have positive things to say. They won the game. They're 1-0 this week, baby.
We will not pull a Ryan Day or what's his name? Jake, what's his name out at Dickert out at Washington State and just absolutely go off on really, really old guys for nothing.
In this day and age of the NIL, you should just be able to make trades.
Please.
You should be able to go to the transfer portal in midseason and just say, this is what we need. How much will you take? It's the end of the semester or mid-semester. We got a couple $100,000. Come on over.
I actually say, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do a trade. Trade and free agent signings for guys that didn't sign out of the portal, and just say October 1st is literally the trade deadline.
Would you go running back or quarterback for Nebraska?
Yes. With the 2 injuries, I would go a yes on either one of them, but before last week, I would have gone quarterback, obviously.
Man, that would be nice if you could do that.
Maybe
that's one of our conversation pieces.
It's coming.
I think
sooner than later.
I think it actually will come.
Once they're employees, trades can happen. That's where I'm at with it. Tom, Mike, Husker Rewind comes your way here in just a sec here in 93.7 The Ticket. They're with you for the next couple hours. Plenty more of Ticket Weekends here on a Sunday, starting with the Rewind. Don't go anywhere.
Ready to upgrade your combine with new technology to make your harvest more efficient, meaning more money in your pocket?
The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine for harvest. Plus, when you purchase a pre-owned combine from Landmark, you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network, along with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running, reducing downtime. View inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south